Hello everyone, Gerald Nichols here with RANS Bikes. Have an interesting project I want to share with you that's nearing completion in the weld shop here. Started with a call from the customer, and he requested that his older RANS Screamer would be coupled. So we said, sure, we can do that. And one thing led to another as we got to discussing with him and looking at the bike itself. And we've done some interesting things with it. One thing that's interesting is this bike was built in February of 1998, so it's 19 years old this month. I just found that to be interesting. I was 19 years old when it was built. Anyway, so yeah, it's coupled with the stainless steel S&S couplers. They're just awesome. But then he wanted disc brakes, the disc brake option. And so that involved mounting the welding on tab to mount the caliper and moving the sprint brace mounts forward because they can no longer come back to the dropouts because of the caliper interference. He'd also mentioned that he had some trouble under a lot of power from a stop, that the hub would slip, wheel would come out of position. So we addressed that by 3/4 inch counterbore on each dropout, on the outside of each dropout, 40 thousandths deep, because we've found that just about all of the skewers are slightly under 3/4 inch diameter, so that just sockets in there. It'll give it some extra holding power. This bike also was still using the old seat mount style that was that big channel that come over the frame for the seat to set down. It was supported with some little angle brackets that were welded on that we cut off, and then installed the center threaded insert, welded it in, so we can use the aluminum extrusion that works with the rad locks and now the new V-clamps. So we did that in both stoker and captain position. It also still had the welded inserts for the captain sprint brace, and one of the bolts had seized up and snapped off and caused a problem there. So we just removed those and welded a sleeve through the frame so a through bolt go through there. That's how we're doing it on all the new ones now too. Either he had installed or had somebody install a kickstand mount, which is fine, but it did cause interference. The kickstand interfered with cable routing. So ended up cutting off all the old cable stops and welding on new ones in positions that worked better for what we're doing. One thing we are doing different that I think is pretty neat is welding these two cable stops here on this small brace, pencil brace, and that is so that we can run, if you decide to run, or he decides to run a drag brake for the stoker, then there's a nice place to put a cable splitter right there. So when you remove the stoker seat, which you undoubtedly will on a coupled frame, then you can uncouple that cable without losing brake adjustment. And while we was at it, went on ahead and installed welded in the thread inserts in the bottom of the boom clear up front, and that's for the accessory mount, or light boom mount as we call it. Disc brake for the front was a little more of a challenge because it's still 1 inch instead of 1 1/8 like we use now. So I found a threadless 1 inch fork and shaped the blade to give clearance for 203 millimeter rotor, which it has that clearance in the back too, on the rear, and welded on a bracket to mount the caliper, and of course a little clip bracket for the cable housing. So it is fixing on going to the paint shop for prep and powder coat. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.